Hello team, welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Gigi, I'm a plant-based nutritionist and personal trainer. If you're not new here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about nutrition and fitness truths that I wish I knew when I was younger. And it would have saved me so much trouble in terms of nutrition and fitness. And also I will give you a recipe for a Snickers bar, which I am obsessed with. It's really easy to make, and as always the recipe is in the caption. If you do it, let me know. Little disclaimer, I will touch on some topics here that could be triggering for somebody that is suffering from an eating disorder, who has a bad relationship with food and fitness. So if you find that you're easily triggered by those topics, please consider not watching this video. And if you do, I'll see you in the next video. Let's start with, I think, one of the ideas that stuck with me the most is that carbs are your enemy if you want to lose weight or lose fat. So low carb diet can work for some people, especially in the short term, but they are not sustainable, especially in the long term, because they can backfire very quickly. Just think that carbs are your body's preferred source of energy, in terms of brain, in terms of muscles, in terms of nervous system. And also, if you look at guidelines, carbohydrates should make the majority of your calorie intake. So the split should be around 45 to 60%, which means that that range depends on a lot of different factors. But what is important is that you should have most of your energy through carbs. And if you're doing a low carb diet for a long period of time, some things that you can experience are low energy fatigue, mood swings and brain fog, hormonal imbalances and problems with your period, loss of muscle mass, slower metabolism over time. So yes, it can be helpful in the short term, but it's definitely not recommended as a sustainable long-term diet. Okay, so another point for me was that beans are full of carbs, therefore I'm not eating them as much, or I'm considering beans as a carb. It took a long time for me to clear this one, because I had on one side dietitians and nutritionists who were saying to me, no, you should consider beans as a source of protein. On the other side, personal trainers who were telling me, no, you should consider beans as a carb. Read the label, they are full of carbs. Beans are a very complex food, beans or like legumes in general. So if you look at the US dietary guidelines and the British Association of Dietitians, they always state, when they refer to beans as how to place them, they always state that they are a source of plant protein. Actually, what the US dietary guidelines state is that generally people should reduce their meat consumption in favor of protein sources like beans. They also have a lot of micronutrients like mineral, potassium, magnesium, depending on of the bean we are talking about. But they also have carbs. What is not always clear is that the term carbs has a lot of components to it. So carbs are not one type of carbs. Carbs can be lots of types. And what beans also have is dietary fiber. And if we know a little bit more about fiber, we know that it doesn't get digested through the body in the same way that other type of carbohydrates do. So it doesn't get turned into energy. What fiber does mostly is essentially going through our digestive tract undigested and take away all the baddies like toxins, bad cholesterol, and expel it. Spot reduction is not real. I used to do a lot of abs workouts in the hope that my abs would magically appear. There is no food or workout that can magically shrink a part of your body. it's a process that happens systematically and you can't do it selectively. It's mostly like a pairing of exercise, like regular consistent exercise, mostly weightlifting, with a balanced diet. Fasted training for fat loss. Thanks to recent research, we now know that as a woman is counterproductive actually to train fasted, because it can in the long term play a negative role with your metabolism, your hormones, and even your menstrual cycle. And also, if you're training fasted, your cortisol levels stay high, which means there is a higher chance of muscle breakdown and fat retention instead of fat loss, which is actually the opposite of what we want. So yeah, bottom line is always better to eat something. Is detoxing your body. Which I knew, if I knew what it meant and what actually a marketing strategy was, it would have saved me money and days of going through painful experiences. So the idea that you need to buy a detox tea, that you need to buy a detox powder, they need to do a detox diet, or you need to, for example, a juice cleanse that clears your organs, is a bit of like a marketing strategy, is a bit of a scam, because your body actually does that already. You have organs that are specifically designed to do that, and you don't need additional methods. I remember I had my flatmate at a time that she was doing it quite regularly, and I remember doing it a couple of times, like a couple of days of juice cleanses. And I was like so hungry at the time that what your body actually needs is a balanced diet with plenty of whole foods, especially fiber-rich ones like vegetables, grains, and all of that. Stay hydrated, sleep well, exercise. You don't need a juice cleanse. Oh my god. I. Last for today is less is more. So, which is actually like really true, and I didn't know at the time. I used to think that working out more in the gym, spending more time in the gym, sweating more would give me better result and faster, which is actually not true at all. And I learned later that progress doesn't come from doing more. It actually comes from doing the right amount and letting your body recover, which is super important, and it's so much underrated. So instead of packing your week with back-to-back workouts and packing those workout sessions with 12-15 exercises, it's much better if you reduce the exercises to 6 or 7, but those are well chosen targeted exercise, and focusing on the execution of those exercises, you will see much better results. You will see also you will sleep better, you will be less hungry, less tired, and you won't risk burning out, as happened to me. Alright, this was all my thoughts for this video. If you enjoyed this type of video, I have some more that I have included, but I didn't want to overload with the information. So if you think this type of content is useful, please let me know. Also, let me know if there are any thoughts that you thought in the past were true but actually turned out to be not accurate. I'm very interested to know. And now it's time for the Snickers, which as always I'll leave you the full recipe in the caption below. If you try them, also let me know, because I am obsessed with them, and I think if you try them you will be too.
1 hour later.
Oh, mama. Every time I make them, it gets better, honestly. Mamma mia. So good. Hello. I'm here with the Snickers, and Manu was also waiting for his snack, which is definitely not chocolate. Anyway, if you try the recipe, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.